Statman, on a level, you could be the greatest individual in football history.
We are back with another video, and today I am joined by a very, very special guest to talk Antonio Conte. Sharma, how are you doing?
Yes, bro. Thank you very much for having me. And yeah, excited to be on. That was a cold ass intro, bro. I like that intro.
Listen, I might need to add Antonio Conte into the intro soon. You never know.
We're here to spread that gospel, that Conte-able gospel. Yeah, we got some Inter fans in the house as well.
Listen, for people who don't know, Sharma's an Inter Milan fan, and he talks English, which is a massive help. And I can't lie, a lot of the United fans have been convinced on Antonio Conte. They've been convinced, but a lot of people have the doubts and stuff as well about the United DNA, all that rubbish. Let's get started straight away. First thing I wanted to ask you, because obviously you've watched Antonio Conte for what, 2 years in a row kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you think Antonio Conte plays defensive football?
No, I think that's a myth that we have to dispel straight away, man. Inter, when you're a stat man, obviously, so you look at the stats. Inter, 2 seasons in a row, we were second highest scorers in Serie A after Atalanta. Even in Europe, when you looked at numbers, like only there was certain spells where only Bayern Munich was scoring more than Inter. But there are moments, or like towards the end of the last season, where we went defensive. So I think overall he has a bit of a reputation that I think is a little bit harsh, that he's a defensive coach. But I feel like he's a results-based coach, but he's not defensive. If you were to ask me what's his style of play, I wouldn't say that he's defensive at all.
Because I think I looked at it. I think last year you scored the second most goals in Serie A behind Atalanta, who scored 90. And I think Inter Milan created the third most big chances in the league. And I think even when Conte was in the Premier League, I think the season they won the league, they were the second top goal scorers. I think it was behind Tottenham. I think it was.
Right. No, I didn't check that stat, but I'm sure. Yeah, like when you look at the numbers, even his Juventus team, like he's not a defensive manager. That's for sure.
What about defensively then with Conte? Because I don't think Inter have been phenomenal defensively this year, which kind of just shows the impact that Conte did make.
Well, I would say that individually, though, like if you take Skriniar, De Vrij, Bastoni, like individually, the back three, if you say just those back three, I would say that's the best defense in Italy. Like if you as a trio, but Conte definitely had a massive hand to like gel that trio, because Skriniar, I know you guys were linked with him in the past as well, Man United and like Spurs were linked with him. He was really, really good in the back four. But then he struggled in the first season on the Conte in the back three. He actually lost his spot to Diego Godin for a little bit. And then, to Bastoni as well when he came in. And then in the second season last year, he was amazing, Skriniar. He was probably like, I know Cristian Romero won Serie A Defender of the Year, but it probably should have been Milan Skriniar. Like he was just amazing. So he shows that, he can like, help players to improve and adapt to the back three, even if they initially struggle.
Someone else quickly. How did you start supporting Inter Milan?
Oh, I grew up in Italy, so I grew up in Italy, like a couple of hours from Milan, or like 3 hours from Milan. So I'm not spoiling. It wasn't my local, but still, I grew up in Italy. So that, and the original R9 Ronaldo, he was the reason when I was growing up. I just saw him, the black and blue shirt, and just fell in love with Inter, man. Vieri, all the man there.
You see, for example, in the back three you touched on.
Yeah.
Do you think United players suit a back three? Like, is there anything in particular you think Conte looks out for the three defenders to kind of be stylistically?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have to be ball-playing centre-backs. You've seen that at Juventus. Like, I know like Bonucci obviously is like really good ball-playing centre-back, but even Chiellini, even though he doesn't look like it, he looks a bit clunky. He looks, a bit dodgy on the ball, but he is like, he doesn't really give the ball away much. Chiellini, he's good. He can pick a pass as well. Basali as well. He's not the most ball-playing centre-back, but with Conte, he wants his centre-back to be the ones building up from the back. He wants progressive passes. He wants them to like run up with the ball as well, progressive runs. We saw that with Skriniar as well. He's another one that doesn't look like he's amazing on the ball. He looks a bit clunky, but we saw his numbers, in terms of he improved his passing. The players need to be good passers, like De Vrij. had to be. He was the one in the center of the three, and he had to be a lot of times. He's the one that switches the play from left to right. If he sees the options, the wing backs are free, so you have to be able to play good football with the centre backs. And yeah, I think you've got the right players. Your centre backs are definitely. I think Maguire, is one of the guys that I think will probably be happier in the back three than in the back four. I think we've seen that with England when he played at the World Cup. Remember, he played in the back three back then, didn't he? And I think in general that extra level of protection, if he plays in the center, that extra bit of protection that he'll have with the centre backs next to him, I think that will do Maguire some good. And he's a decent player on the ball as well, Maguire. I think he's underrated on the ball. He's good at carrying it. He's got a decent pass on him, and then aerial ability is just unbeatable. So if he's in the middle of a back three, I think he can thrive.
I think Lindelof could be someone that Conte could potentially like, because I think I'll probably say this. I think Lindelof is probably the best ball-playing centre-back that we have at the club. Like you see, for example, against Leicester, the Lindelof to Rashford long ball. Like we are kind of relying on that at times. And I think he could potentially thrive in a Conte system, because everyone says like maybe in the back two, Lindelof ain't the guy, but in a three where there is a bit more protection, you probably will see the best out of Victor Lindelof.
Yeah, I agree. I think Lindelof. He's another. He's as you said, he's a really good ball player. I think he would thrive probably as the right centre back of the three. Potentially, he could thrive there. And I can see probably Luke Shaw. I could see Conte adapting Luke Shaw as perhaps as the left centre back. I know he's played for you guys there already, and I think I don't really see him as a wing back per se, especially in a Conte system. Like he wants his wing back to be bombing forward, like up and down the whole match. So, and I think Shaw's ability, like on the ball again, like building up from the back as well. He's really good with his passing. So I can see Shaw thriving as well. So I can see a back line of Shaw with what you have currently, Shaw, Maguire, and obviously Varane as well. He's a really good ball playing centre back as well. I think you've got the squad definitely. I think you probably, if you give him, you probably need a transfer window. I think you'd probably go for a proper left-footed centre back. I think if he comes in now, he'll try to adapt Shaw there for the moment being, see how it goes. But I think ideally he'll probably want a left-footed centre back.
Because I can't lie, you see with Luke Shaw, I think most United fans think that Luke Shaw's best position is probably on the left of a back three. Because at times that left back going forward, he might not offer enough in it.
Yeah.
But defensively, he's always been decent. So I think in a back three, you probably do see the best out of Luke Shaw. Another person I wanted to talk about here, like a lot of people have the question marks over him at right back, but Wan-Bissaka.
Oh, he's an interesting one. He's an interesting one. He's a bit of a question mark because I can see him. I can see Conte liking him because he's one of those guys. He's a hard worker, and he's like he covers the ground. He works hard. He's puts tackles in. He puts the passion in. I think as a character, as a character, he would like him for sure. But I don't. He could, and I could see him possibly adapting as a centre back as well, as one of the centre backs maybe. But you can tell me, I don't feel like he maybe has the passing ability or the ball playing ability to play there. What do you think?
Where right centre back or in the back wing back?
Yeah, I feel like he possibly could adapt as a right centre back as well.
You see, the only reason I say no to the right centre back thing, I personally think, first of all, he's not good enough on the ball. Secondly, I do think aerially, there's massive question marks over Wan-Bissaka. And thirdly, obviously we watch United. I watch United week in, week out, and most of the chat.
Yeah,
we see Wan-Bissaka's flaws positionally. Like that's probably something a lot of people don't see. Like if you don't watch United week in, week out, like positionally, maybe less so this season, but he did get caught out quite a lot last season. So that's what I'm kind of like in the right centre back of a back three. I don't think it'll work. Yeah. Wing back, I just don't think he's competent enough on the ball and progressive enough to play wing back as a whole, especially under Conte. Because I think under Chelsea, he had Victor Moses, Inter, Hakimi.
Sorry. I would say that with Conte, though, the one thing is that talent maximization. Though we've seen what he's done with like players like Victor Moses at Chelsea. That guy used to be a winger. He doesn't have positional sense or anything. But he's a coach. He's able to teach players as well. It's not like Ole Gunnar Freestyle who just like lets them go out and do whatever. I just watched your stream earlier. I saw you were going in, but yeah, this guy he will teach. Like, it doesn't if he doesn't have certain traits or certain understanding of positioning, he will teach that. Like, he will put that coaching time on the field. Like, he will take time himself to take Wan-Bissaka to the side to teach him the things that he needs to learn.
I hear that, yeah, but I think you see with someone like Wan-Bissaka, I think technical ability, you either have it or you don't, innit? And I think he really, really likes the fundamentals kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I'm always like, in the back three, I don't think he'll work. As a right centre back, as a wing back, I don't think he'll work. But someone who could work, and I don't know if you know much about him, Ethan Laird. He's on loan,
No.
I think it's Swansea. He's one of like the academy lads. And going forward, he's very, very good. So
Right.
he could potentially thrive under Antonio Conte. The only problem is with him, injury record.
Right.
And now I think a lot of people want to talk about Eric Bailly as well. You think Eric Bailly could potentially be an Antonio Conte player?
Yeah. I think there's, obviously this is all based on we're just guessing, and right now we don't. Obviously, Conte, we'll see when he comes in. But I think Bailly, I think he's a really good centre back. He's never fit, is he? Like, he just struggles with fitness and he's a bit erratic. But again, I feel like he's a type of player in terms of Conte wants players that are 100% committed and will put in 100%, 110% effort. And yeah, with Bailly, I don't think you can question that. I think he's definitely the type of player that Conte would like as a character. I think Conte looks at a character of a player first, and then you can see what he can work with afterwards. So and yeah, like a few people have mentioned, like he's revived a few careers as well. Like Candreva, someone mentioned before. Like, you guys know about Matteo Darmian, Matty Darms. He's very I was average player, but at Inter, this guy he Conte managed to raise his level to the next level, even for the Italian national team when he played under Conte. Like, he's able to get the best out of average players. I think that's the best quality of Conte.
Saying that, yeah, you actually have taken quite a lot of like former United players. Let's actually touch on them first. Yeah, Alexis Sanchez. How do you think he's done at Inter?
Exactly, another good example. Like, he's I was unsure when we signed him. Like, obviously I've always liked Sanchez, but he just seemed like on a downward trajectory, didn't he? Like, after United, like, he just looked awful at United. But then, yeah, Conte there, like, he was mostly a substitute because Lautaro and Lukaku were the starting two. But yeah, no, he put up good numbers when he was fit, Sanchez, and yeah, he that's another career that he revived, Sanchez, and he's still a useful player for Inter right now.
And Lukaku, he's probably like one of your fan favorites, probably.
Bro, that guy, that is if you want to show Conte reviving, I mean, that is the perfect, like, Conte, like, that's his masterpiece, Lukaku. Taking him literally from his lowest point. But also, you have to give credit to the physical trainer that he brings along with him usually, who's now at Real Madrid, which will be interesting to see whether
something, innit?
Pintus, yeah, Antonio Pintus, like, most people consider him the best fitness trainer in the game. Real Madrid fans like celebrated when they took him from us again this last summer. But yeah, if he's able to bring Pintus to United and convince him to leave Real Madrid and Ancelotti, that's a big game changer, because he's able to, like, take players physically to the next level, and that's what we did with Lukaku. Like, he was an absolute beast, as we know, like, at United. I don't know what you guys were doing there with he said that he was diagnosed with some sort of sensitivity to some sort of food, and you guys were just feeding him like random stuff. There was no like agreed meal plans, and at Inter they gave him all that kind of stuff. So it surprises me actually that a club like United wasn't on it with that kind of stuff.
This is Manchester United we're talking about. We are so disorganized from top to bottom. Like, I don't think people realize how bad it is. Like you seen like the leaks over the last 2 days about the players and stuff.
Yeah.
The players kind of want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out. He's lost the dressing room and he's still here. It's crazy. I think people also want to talk about their midfield, because under Conte at Inter, it was Brozovic, Barella, and Eriksen at times, isn't it?
So yeah, last 6 months it was that was the starting midfield. After Eriksen took about a year, but yeah, the last 6 months it was Eriksen, Barella, and Brozovic. So yeah, it was a 3-3-5-2. Brozovic is the regista, the defensive mid who's just spreading the ball, winning the ball back, all that kind of doing the dirty work behind Barella, Barella was like, the box to box, getting into the box and, doing whipping crosses in, getting on the right as well. And then Eriksen was, kind of bit of a hybrid role, doing a little bit of everything, but he was helping out Brozovic, building up from the back. Like he used to drop sometimes even deeper than Brozovic to help out the defense to build up from the back. So what are you thinking in terms of midfield? I'm not sure whether he would run a 3-5-2 for the squad that you have right now, because I feel like you don't really have the regista, the Brozovic role in your squad.
See, that's what I was thinking, innit? Because I think if you look at our squad, we do have a lot of wide plays and stuff in it. So I feel like he might go with how Chelsea first season it was a 3-4-3.
Yeah,
I feel like he'll kind of favour that under United.
Yeah, that's what I see as well. I think a 3-4-3, 3-4-2-1, whatever you want to call it. I think because you are top heavy at the moment. Your squad is very top heavy, so I could see that potentially being the formation he runs with. But also fringe players like Van de Beek and Lingard, I can see them being integrated. And we were linked with Lingard when Conte was at Inter. And Lingard played in the 3-5-2 for England as well at the World Cup, if you remember. And he can do that box to box. And I think what he did at West Ham, in terms of that on the counter attack last year, he was crazy for them. He was balling out, and I can see
9 goals, 4 assists or something last year.
Yeah. So and that was actually me and a few guys were running the agenda to get Lingard to Inter as well. Let's revive another Man United reject.
See, that's interesting about the Lingard thing. What about Donny van de Beek?
Yeah, he's an interesting one. I think with Conte, he might have players like Van de Beek. He's a technical player and all that kind of stuff. But with Conte, you have to do the work off the ball first. That's the problem we had with Eriksen. There's no denying Eriksen's technical ability, but he just wasn't understanding what Conte wants off the ball. You know what I mean? Like he wants intense pressing. He wants you to go in for the tackles. You have to be doing all the stuff off the ball as well. So yeah, but I can see definitely him liking Van de Beek more than Oli for sure. But at the end of the day, it's about can these players commit to what Conte wants, which Conte wants 110%, commitment, pressing, and following his rules. Like I call Conte a PlayStation coach because he's literally controlling you from the sideline. He's telling you where to go. He doesn't really leave too much freedom. And Van de Beek comes from the Ajax school where full freedom. You kind of do what you do what you want. You have freedom off the ball. That's not Conte's system. You have to follow certain patterns, certain movements. So I don't know. I'm a bit unsure on the Van de Beek, but I definitely see him thriving more on the Conte than he did on the Oli for sure.
Because why I was thinking potentially Van de Beek could work it? Because I think, for example, in the last game he played in the Carabao Cup against West Ham, we did see like physicality wise, he did put himself about a bit more in it. So I could potentially see Van de Beek thriving under Conte, because even like discipline wise, you come from the Ajax academy in it. Like you're going to be positionally disciplined. So I think potentially if we do play a midfield 3, he could thrive.
Yeah, definitely. And then obviously, Pogba. We know Pogba when he came through at Juventus. Conte was the guy who broke him through, and I think, and he said in the past as well that he feels like Pogba could be the best midfielder in the world. Like when he was back at Juve, I remember him saying that, and it was painful watching Pogba coming through as an Inter fan at Juve. So I did celebrate the day that you guys bought him from Juve, but he can definitely, again, I think with Pogba is also a physical. I feel like he's put on. Like if you compare his body right now from where he was at Juve, like he looks quite a lot bulkier. So I don't know if he needs that Antonio Pintus magic of like losing a couple of kilos of muscle here and there and getting a little bit leaner and getting back to that leaner Pogba that could be that box to box left centre mid. I think that's really the role where he can be the best Pogba.
I think there's one name that everyone wants to touch on: Bruno Fernandez.
Oh my days. Bro, I think he's going to be the one suffering the most in this. I think Bruno's days are numbered. If Conte signs, he needs to get his agent on the lookout for any potential offers.
Why do you think that? Because I can't lie, a lot of people do think that about Bruno as well.
I don't know. He's he's too he's a high risk player, and I just don't see a high risk player under Conte. Like that's touching on the Eriksen thing as well. Like he was, Eriksen is a guy who will try, 10, 15, through balls, like risky balls in the match. But Conte doesn't want that. He doesn't want you to waste the ball or like try those kind of passes. He wants to build up the way he wants to, play the patterns of play that he wants to. And Fernandez, he's gonna try the Hollywood ball. He's gonna try to shoot from 35 yards. You can't coach that out of him now. He's 27, 28 years old. This guy's been doing it since he was like, in the youth teams. I've seen clips of Bruno when he was at the youth teams for like Navarro and Serie B or like in Italy. This guy is the exact same player he was back then. So I just don't see Bruno thriving. His pressing's not particularly great either, Bruno.
But I think that's more of a coaching issue, the pressing, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe. But he's not very disciplined, I would say. He wants to be like, near the striker, doesn't he?
Like someone said, can Bruno be disciplined not to lose the ball? What do you think?
I don't think so. I think he just has that in him. Like he wants to play the through ball. He wants to play the risky pass all the time. I think that's Bruno, man. I just don't think him and Conte are gonna get on.
I hear that, but do you potentially not think Conte might like he's off the ball work? Because he does work very, very hard for the side, isn't it? Even though right now it does leave us a bit exposed in the midfield because he pushes up very high. But overall,
yeah, but it depends. Like if he runs a 3-5-2, then I don't really see him covering any of the. He could maybe convert him to left center mid or right center mid or something like that. But again, is that really the best position? Then you'd be adapting Bruno. That's not getting the best out of Bruno. And then maybe the only way he could run him was in that 3-4-2-1, where he's maybe one of the guys behind the striker. So that's the only real way I can see him fitting him into the team. But yeah, he's a hard worker, Bruno. But it's not just about the working hard. It's about picking up the position that Conte wants you to pick, like not going where he wants to go. It's where Conte wants you to go. And I think Bruno's a bit of a free spirit, which Oli lets him have, but I don't think Conte will let him have that.
I think a lot of people agree. And even a lot of United fans, as much as we like Bruno at times, we do say this guy has been given too much freedom, innit?
Yeah,
and you see at times when he
Fabregas. Remember Fabregas at Chelsea? I think he's a good example. He took ages to convince Conte. I mean, Fabregas obviously is a little bit different from Bruno. He's not, such a high risk player. He's more of a, passing technical player. But still, Conte, there's an interview of Fabregas where he was just like, I was like, asking this guy like, why aren't you starting me? Like I'm playing good. And yeah, Conte is just like he's very stubborn. Like once he's made up his mind about a player, he's not really easy to change his mind on. So I can see a similar type of thing. And with Eriksen as well, similar, as I said, like Eriksen wasn't hardly getting any minutes until the last 6 months of last season, until he was pretty much forced to do it because, the squad was getting a bit short and we didn't sign anyone in January. So he literally was kind of forced to include Eriksen in his plans.
If we play a 3-5-2, do you think Bruno could do a job as the two?
Well, the thing is, Conte, I'm basing this off what I've seen at Inter now. Yeah. If a 3-5-2, the two strikers really, you have to play with your back to goal. Like both of them have to be receiving. The way the pattern of play that Conte he tries to get the ball as quickly as possible to the front two, so they both have to be ready to receive with the back to goal. Now, I don't know. Do you tell me? Do you think Bruno's able to receive those kind of passes, like straight from the defense, straight from the wing back, those kind of quick balls on the turn? Is he able to shield the ball like Lautaro and
I'll be honest, I'll probably say no, innit? I don't think that's his game.
Yeah, because he wants to be facing the opposition. He doesn't want to be facing the other way, does he?
See, that's interesting. Now, going on to the attacking areas, there's people are mentioning someone that Conte could like, and that's Martial. What do you think?
I scored Tony Martial with the gloves, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think he said in the past that he likes that he likes Martial, right? I think there's an interview somewhere out there that he said that he likes Martial. Again, with Martial is more the mentality. I think you, as Man United fans, you tell me as well. With Martial is more the mentality. Like Conte, he'll want you to eat grass. Like he wants you to, when their defenders have the ball, you have to press like a madman. Is Martial gonna do that? You tell me.
You know what it is? I don't think. Like I've already said this here. There's probably like 2 or 3 different ways to press in it, and I think he's not gonna be like, for example, Edison Cavani might run around like a headless chicken. He's not that type of player. But if you give like Martial like little passing angles to close down when you're pressing, I think he could do that.
Yeah, but he wants you to do it in an intense way, like Lautaro. I mean, he's probably a bad
I
example.
don't think like he's nothing compared to Lautaro Martinez in terms of the press, innit?
Yeah, it's a bad example, but let's say, I mean, he's able to kind of, he let at Chelsea, he kind of, Hazard had to do the pressing as well, but I think he did let him have a little bit more freedom compared to the other guys.
Because I think he had like Willian and Pedro on the other side.
Yeah. Willian was, the workhorse. Pedro, they were doing the donkey work. So there's maybe if he feels like Martial is the guy, but obviously Martial is not the star player, though, is he? Is he going to be the one allowed to have the little freedom not to press as much as the other guys? You guys tell me. You're saying that he was the highest presser. Maybe you're right. I'm just saying from what I see in terms of his. Maybe I'm judging him wrong because I've seen his body language most of the time I watch United. He doesn't.
I think it is. He ain't a presser, but he can cut out passing lanes, innit? I think he can be effective.
Yeah,
but someone who probably won't press is Cristiano Ronaldo.
Now, this is an interesting one, but this is again. Conte does. He brings that gravitas, like he brings that charisma. That he's maybe obviously he's not. Ole is not going to convince Ronaldo to do anything, but Conte maybe could convince him to do something differently. Like it's a different when Conte speaks to Ronaldo now. It's a different level. There's levels to the game. So we're blowing the TV in the house. What's up, brother? Conte puts in the work with United rejects, and now he's got the whole United squad. So it's a match made in heaven.
So, do you think he will struggle controlling an ego like Cristiano Ronaldo?
Oh, I am interested to see that. That's the one thing with Conte we don't know whether he's able to do or not because he's never had a superstar player. Like I think Hazard's probably the closest that he's got, but he wasn't at that. Like he's not at that mad level, like a Ronaldo, Messi level of superstardom. You know what I mean? Like he's not. So that's something that's a big question mark for me as well. Like he's never managed such a big personality. Like the biggest player at Inter was, Lukaku, but he was like again, on his way back up again. So it doesn't really compare. So this is a question that I'm interested to see, like how this develops. Like is he able to handle the ego of Ronaldo, and is he able to adapt the team for a player? Because usually he doesn't. Everyone's the same for Conte. Everyone's at the same level. He doesn't have specials or like favorites. Like you might have.
I think even Jurgen Klopp said something where it's like there's two players that you change kind of the way you play in it. Yeah. Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. But do you do that for a 36-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo right now? But bro, the thing is that you can't bench him because he's bigger than football. He's bigger than United kind of thing, in a way.
That's the thing. I want to see. That's why I'm so interested. Like he was linked with the PSG job as well after he left Inter, and I was like, I would have loved to see what he would have done with Neymar and Mbappe. Is like putting Neymar as left wing back or something. Like you never know with Conte, this guy. But I am so interested to see like how he would handle someone because he's never had a team like United. I think this is probably going into a job. This is probably the best squad he's ever had going into a job.
What about Jaden Sancho? A lot of people want to know because I think everyone has the misconception that Conte is going to play the 3-5-2 straight away, innit? So if we do play a 3-5-2, then potentially Jaden Sancho will miss out.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think people try to pigeonhole Conte a little bit too much. Like we've seen over the years. Like let's not forget at Chelsea, he did try to play a 4-3-3 at the beginning, and it just didn't work out. And he switched that to 3-4-3. And then obviously he just kept that because keep what works. And then at Inter as well. This season he tried to play a 3-4-1-2. The previous season, sorry, at the beginning he tried to play a 3-4-1-2, which didn't work out. He tried it until November. And it was like high line, high pressing, and he was playing like Barella out of position, Vidal out of position. Like it just didn't work. So I wouldn't pigeonhole the guy too much into the 3-5-2 necessarily because he does try and switch up things quite often. Then when he started off his career, actually, like Serie B, Serie A, like his favorite formation was like a, 4 at the back. Like he liked the 4-4-2 or the 4-2-4. I think he wrote his thesis, like his management thesis that he graduated with. It was like on a No, it was on a diamond. Yeah, it was on a 4-4-2 diamond. I think his thesis was on. So I wouldn't, pigeonhole him too much. It doesn't necessarily mean because he played at Inter 3-5-2 and with Italy played 3-5-2 that he'll play necessarily a 3-5-2.
So you think there's a chance that he comes United and potentially plays a forward at the back?
Yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't rule it out for sure. But I think, yeah, as we discussed, I think your squad is, especially your centre backs, will thrive better in a back three. So I think he'll see that that's the way forward if he wants to fix your defensive issues, especially. I think back three, especially. I mean, he's the one who brought it to the Premier League as well. So I think he knows that it works in the Premier League. So I see him running a three at the back for sure. But I was just saying that you shouldn't rule it out with Conte. He's not like just a 3-5-2 till death guy.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking, innit? Next question. I think a lot of people have asked, what are Conte's flaws?
Ooh. Yeah.
Because can't I, like, you probably name like 1 or 2 flaws here, but I'm telling you, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, there's probably like a whole book you can write about how bad he is.
With Conte, is mainly is like the character. So what the issues I see, especially with a club like a super club like United, and you kind of lack of structure that you have. Someone like Inter, we have our CEO for the sporting side is Beppe Marotta, the guy who worked with him at Juventus, and I think that he's the only guy that can manage him properly. Like he was the guy who brought him in at Inter, and he brought him in at Juve, and I feel like he's the only guy who managed him. We saw Marina at Chelsea. I don't think she was able to get on with him. Like after that first season, you could just tell the wheels fell off really quick. And after that, the second summer. So behavior-wise, like the guy will throw people under the bus. Like at Inter this past season, he threw our director. Like he literally said, like, you guys are not protecting me. You guys didn't give me this person. That you didn't give me this. Like this guy will put not the players. He'll protect the players, but people that work at the club. Like if he worked with Ed Woodward, he would call Ed Woodward like 15 times by now. So that's one thing. He's very hard to manage, which is a good thing in terms of because his standards are so high. Like he just wants to win any way, shape, or form. And if you're not following him, players, directors, anyone, he'll throw you under the bus. So it's a good thing, but it's also a negative in terms of he'll bring media and attention, negativity towards the club. So that's definitely one negative I can think of straight off.
A lot of people are saying his European record. Because I can't lie, I think he got to the Europa League's final, was it? He lost to Sevilla with you guys. What do you think of his European record as a whole?
Yeah, that's definitely another drawback. You can't deny that. His whole record, like at Juve, at Chelsea, at Inter, is just not good enough. But I think the thing with Conte is, I think because his style of play is so intense, I think he struggles with the rotation, rotating the squad, and the adaptation to the European. In Europe, you play a little bit more. Yeah, maybe it's that, as I call him, a PlayStation coach. Sometimes I think he's a little bit too controlling of the players. I think in Europe you have to let them off the leash a little bit more. But yeah, as everyone on the TV said, you need to sort out the domestic form first.
Listen, we need to sort out everything right now. We're a shocking side. I was going to say, like you said, you touched on something about the rotation. Because United have such a big squad, you think potentially you could struggle?
Struggle in terms of rotating too much?
Not even rotating too much, but keeping everyone in the squad happy.
Oh, yeah, I think that'll be one of the issues for sure. But I think that's one of the guarantees I think Conte will want coming in is like, I know he would say, like, I know Jaden Sancho is your star signing this summer, but he's gonna be like, don't expect me to play him just because he's your star signing. Like he's gonna play who he wants to play. Do you know what I mean? So he's not gonna play someone just because you guys spend money on him or because he's earning a lot of money. So yeah, I think he's gonna struggle to keep players happy in terms of that, your big squad. But I think that's your opportunity to get rid of dead wood. I think when you bring in a manager like Conte, like this is what Inter did. We said to him, like, we pretty much gave him what he wanted. Like he said he wanted Arturo Vidal, which, people say, he's dusted and whatever. So we brought him Arturo Vidal. He wanted Lukaku at all cost. We broke the bank to get him Lukaku. Whoever he wanted, Ashley Young, like this guy, name him, and we got him the guy. So you just when you get a manager like Conte, you should try to follow his instruction because I think in football he's the closest things you get to success, like guaranteed success in the league anyway. Like his league success is like unmatched in my opinion.
I probably agree with that. And I can't lie, it's nearly been a decade since we last won the league. I think every single United fan are desperate for us to win the league title. And let's be honest, everyone knows Ole Gunnar Solskjaer isn't going to compete with Tuchel, Klopp, and Pep. But do you think Conte can? Because I think I was thinking about this the other day, who my top 5 managers are in the world, and maybe I had like 3 of them certainties, but Conte is still in that discussion as top 5 managers in the world.
Oh yeah, no, bro. He's top 5, especially if we're just talking straight, domestic. Plus, what he did with Italy, people forget as well. What he did with Italy, man, on the international level, like that Italy in 2016, because I support Italy as well on the international level. That's the worst Italy team I've seen in my lifetime, and he took us to the quarterfinals that are Euros. Like we beat Spain, we beat Belgium. Like we had bloody Giaccherini, Parolo in midfield, and like Darmian. Graziano Pelle up front, like that was an average ass Italy, and this guy is just a talent maximizer. And yeah, when it comes to leagues, he's just a serial winner. Like he's as close as I said, like to a guaranteed league success. Like even at Chelsea, you could say that it was up and down, but he got them a league title, a Juventus league title, an Inter league title. Like he's just guaranteed success.
What do you think of this? Big up Ty as well. If Conte was to sign 3 players from, which 3 do you think you could sign from Italy?
Hey, I'm not. Let's leave Inter out of this, man.
No, just say like the 3 names that you think he could take.
I think there's some opportunities available in the market in terms of Frank Kessie from Milan, because his contract is expiring at the end of the season. So I think as a free transfer at the end of the season, I can see that happening. He was linked with Inter when Conte was there, and he's definitely a Conte type of player, and he could be that base to your midfield potentially, or even in a 3-4-3 as well, one of the 2 midfielders, because he's a workhorse of a midfielder. So I can see Frank Kessie. Obviously you guys have been linked with Barella, but hands off Barella. Inter fans will tell you Gagliardini, like if you want some of our bozos, some of our bums on the bench. Yeah, Brozovic is a possible, because Brozovic's contract is expiring at the end of the season as well, and he hasn't signed a new one yet. So I wouldn't be surprised if Conte gets the job and he gives Marcelo a quick call and says, what are you thinking? Premier League experience. And yeah, you've been linked with Brozovic even before Conte, so I wouldn't be surprised. That's a possible move. And one more, who could be, I don't know, probably like like left-footed centre-back, as I was saying, is probably something you'll be looking at, like Bastoni at Inter. But yeah, we're not selling him to you guys. Vlahovic, someone's put Vlahovic, but I think you're pretty stacked up front at the moment already. So yeah, those are the ones that come to mind to me right now.
Another thing I think a lot of people have questioned about Conte is how he uses the youth. What do you think of that? How did he do at Inter Milan in terms of bringing up players?
Yeah, if you want to bring youth through, then Conte's not your guy. But the thing is, if you're good enough, he'll bring you through. Like Bastoni, as I just mentioned, left centre back at Inter. We brought him from Atalanta, and then he was on loan to Parma, and then he was supposed to be loaned out again, but he kept him at the club. And then by the end of the season, this is 2 seasons ago, he became the starter, and now he's like one of the most important players for Inter, and the future of Italy's defense. Like he put him ahead, as I said. Like Skriniar was dropped because he wanted to put Bastoni left centre back, and then he developed Bastoni into a really, really good defender. But yeah, apart from Bastoni, he didn't really bring anyone through. But at the same time, I don't think anyone at Inter's youth academy is that good to be really kind of brought through, if you know what I mean. In the past, obviously, we've seen with the Pogba, but again, he was a world-class talent. So you could say, like, if you can't bring someone like Pogba through, then he's struggling there. But at Chelsea, I can't remember if he really brought youth through there. I know he played like Loftus-Cheek here and there, but he's not your guy if you want to bring youth through. But your talent is elite though. Like Greenwood, he's an elite talent. Like he's not gonna waste talent like Greenwood and someone's players like that. So if they're good enough, they'll play under Conte.
Fairs. I think another thing that people want to know: McTominay and Fred. Is he gonna say bye-bye to that partnership?
I think I think McTominay possibly could be like, because he plays that role for Scotland at the back. He could possibly become one of the centre backs. I can see that possibly happening. But Fred, he doesn't strike me as a Conte player. That's probably the end of that. I could see the end of that partnership, the McFred partnership. Yeah,
I think that's just music to people's ears. No one wants to see them two together, and hopefully, I can't lie, I don't want to see McTominay playing the back three either. Like, don't you think, like, as an outsider, it says a lot that you're starting for Manchester United in midfield, but in Scotland you play centre back?
Yeah, it does. Now that I think about it like that, it does say something. But at the same time, though, it's about the team. Like, if McTominay is better for the team at centre back, he's got the ball playing over midfielder. He's playing the ball out from the back. So it could, minimize his weaknesses at there. He's probably more of a squad player, but I'm just saying he could be potentially a good backup player there.
All right, make sure you guys like the video. I think there's 201 people watching right now. So make sure you guys get your questions in as well for Sharma. Because I can't lie, I'm loving the Conte talk right now. I'm getting a bit giddy.
I miss the guy, man. I miss it. I'm joining the United Twitter, by the way. If he signs for United, I'm joining United Twitter. So yeah.
Listen.
Get ready for my propaganda.
I don't think we really touched on Paul Labille Pogba. He's probably, you could argue, the most talented player that we have in our squad. And he's probably the man that has the most doubts over his future. I think his contract finishes in the summer. A lot of people are a bit divided on him sometimes, isn't it? What do you think of Pogba under Conte?
Yeah, I think that's another. In theory, it sounds like it could be, bringing Pogba back to, his Juventus levels. But is the thing with Conte is when Conte comes in, are the players ready for that? Like, you have to be. The training is going to be the level of training and intensity is going to go up a level. The work in the matches is going to be up a level. The tactical, the discipline is going to go up a level. Is Pogba, does he want that at this stage of his career, or does he want to be just, the superstar player, like, just be able to jog around the pitch and things like that? Like, you have to be mentally ready for a Antonio Conte system. But I think in theory, this could be the revival of, well, not revival, not like as if he's playing badly, but, taking Pogba back to those Juventus levels potentially. Conte's always said that he really likes Pogba and he could be the best centre mid in the world. He said that in the past. So, yeah.
So do you think you definitely use him in like the central midfield areas, or do you think, say, if he goes with like a 3-4-3, he could use him out wide on the left?
Yeah,
like
I think
Oli has been doing him at times.
Yeah, I could see him playing in that role as well. Because if Pogba's not going to provide that discipline in midfield, then probably he'll have to play him in that kind of role a bit higher up. A bit, give him that freedom to kind of roam around on the left-hand side. But, I think with Conte, he's able to convince, like with Perisic, he was able to convince, Perisic has been a winger, an attacker, you could say, for his whole career. Went on loan to Bayern Munich, won the treble as a winger, as a left winger. And then Conte convinced him to convert into a left wing back. Perisic obviously is a different type of player, an athletic player who's, always worked hard, but still converting yourself to a left wing back takes some convincing. And I think Conte, he did that. Obviously, Victor Moses is not that high of a level, but he's able to convert players or convince players that this role would be best for you. So he probably can do something with Pogba in terms of convincing him.
I was thinking of this as well. Yeah, a lot of people think that he's going to play like Mason Greenwood, for example, right wing back. I don't think he will, yeah, but do you think there's any forwards in our squad that could do that wing back role?
No, man, the jokes, we run those jokes for sure. As soon as he was linked, it was like, he's going to run Rashford as a left wing back, all that kind of stuff. But nah, you need to be like really disciplined, and you have to be like commit to 100%. You can't be like, oh yeah, I'll play, right wing back for you. Yeah, I'll give it a go. But it's he needs like 100% commitment.
I don't know if you watch much of him, but you think Dan James could have been a good wing back?
Oh yeah. Dan James would have been perfect for Conte, man. I used to say that. Like him,
I
like
love how
people like him,
excited you got
Adama
there.
Traore. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys go in for Adama Traore. Like these are the type of guys that Conte would love as a right wing back.
Interesting. What do you think of this question here? Would De Gea's lack of ball playing ability be a problem for Conte?
Oh, is do you feel like De Gea is not that good on the ball?
Yeah, he definitely has his limitations. Like he's not like an Edison, Allison, even a Ramsdale.
But at the same time, like Handanovic Inter wasn't. He's good. He's improved over the years, but he wasn't. He's not like as you said, he's not one of the elites. So I don't think Conte is too much. He's not like he doesn't want his keeper to be pinging balls around. That's not usually from what I've seen anyway. He likes the short passing is more from the centre backs, the wing backs that build up play. So I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue.
Someone said, would Maguire play under him?
Yeah, I think he'll thrive. As I said at the beginning, I think Maguire could thrive in the middle of a three.
We'll see in it because I can't lie. You see, Maguire, he's an interesting one because he does divide a lot of characters. Because we kind of seen this season, for example, he's been shocking. Like him, Luke Shaw down the left hand side have been a massive problem here. But we do see probably in the back three, we see Maguire a bit better. Like you see the best out of Maguire in the back three probably.
Yeah, and he's been exposed. I mean, that Liverpool match, like if you're gonna expose those guys with no midfield in front of them, obviously Maguire's got like the pace of a slug. He's gonna be exposed. So Conte will make sure that the system will be in place to make sure that these guys are not exposed as they have been.
Another thing that I think people want to ask is the Telles Dalot thing at wing back. You think those two players will definitely thrive under Conte?
Yeah. I think those two. I think Telles. I think he's definitely more of a wing back than a left back in my opinion. He's just defensively is a bit iffy. So I think as a wing back, I think he could thrive definitely. And Dalot, I think he probably needs some work as well. But again, that's what I mean with Conte, especially Conte and wing backs, bro. I call him the wing back whisperer. Like he can take any wing back and take him to the next level because he just simplifies. What Conte does is simplifies the game for you. He'll give you you will know what to do before the ball even arrives to you. Like he gives you these patterns of play, so the team will have 4 or 5 different patterns that they can just play off memory. Like obviously it takes time to get it going, but once they have it, they can literally play. They play these balls like blind sometimes, like the wing back straight to the striker, like blind ball. So they don't even, a lot of the time he takes the thinking out of the game, which I think some players like Dalot sometimes I think overthink their play and things like that. So
I'll probably say that's probably like a lot of United players because we're so unorganized. The players whenever they get the ball, they kind of have to think. Like for example, with City, everyone knows where they are. They're so organized. Like for example, De Bruyne's going to be there. Sterling's going to be back. Sterling's going to be there back post kind of thing. De Bruyne can put that ball in. It's just so easy for them. Whereas with United, I don't know where Paul Pogba's going to be on the pitch. I don't know where Bruno Fernandez is going to be on the pitch. Like it's just a madness right now.
Yeah, man. Like that's the thing with Conte. You'll have a system, a way of playing. Like one thing you won't complain about. You won't be asking like, what is our style of play? And the Conte, you will know exactly how your team plays. The players know exactly what to do on the pitch, and they won't be exposed in terms of their weaknesses. Like he's always said, like my job as a coach is to try to minimize your weaknesses and show off your strengths as much as possible. So those wing backs I think will take a step up for sure.
This is an interesting question. What is Conte let off the pitch with player attitude to issues? Like what would you do if, for example, Luke Shaw's weight that people question?
Yeah, but again, I think that's like that's the team that he brings with him. Like it depends who he brings in. But as I said, like his training regime is known to be very strict and very intense. Like there's a story that goes around that when Juve went to this pre-season camp in America, like when Conte first joined, there was like 40 degrees heat. I don't know where they were, like Miami or like New York or somewhere, and like it was an open training session, and like he made all the players puke because like that's how like he made them show like that this is how hard you're gonna have to work at Juventus in front of like people watching them. So I mean, I don't know if that probably depends. That kind of Luke Shaw weight question is probably more around the team around that you bring and the team that you have at United. But he's very strict. Yeah, he's a disciplinarian. Like he won't accept any late people coming late, people being overweight. Like he's very strict on those things. He's a disciplinarian. He's that complete opposite to Ollie.
Do you think potentially, say if Luke Shaw is overweight, that he could be potentially training alone and stuff? Like I think LVG did that at times with him. Or do you think he'll still keep him part of the camp, but maybe make him do extra work?
I don't really remember at Inter like him leaving players out of the squad. But then again, like, we didn't have any tubby players at Inter, so I don't know about that. Again, if you go
You could
to
argue Lukaku was that at the start.
Yeah, exactly. But it took him a couple of months. But obviously he wanted Lukaku so bad, so he had to play him straight away, even when he was a little bit overweight at the beginning. But I think if you go to a Conte preseason, like if he has a preseason with your team, yeah, Luke Shaw is gonna come out with a 6-pack.
The Donny van der Beek Barella comparisons. What do you think of that?
I don't know, because we've been linked with Van der Beek as well. Inter. I think he's a different type of player. Like Barella's kind of a engine, box to box. I think Van der Beek's got more kind of final product, like through balls and getting into the box and getting goals. I think they're slightly different, so I wouldn't necessarily compare them, to be honest. But again, I think Van der Beek could thrive in the 3-5-2.
A lot of people are saying Gosson, because Gosson's be a target for United.
Yeah. I think his contract. I think he's only got 1 year left as well, so he's definitely. I think he would be fit to the Premier League as well. He's a very physical, athletic player. We were linked with him when he was at Inter as well. Mela as well, yeah, the other Atalanta one. Yeah, all the Atalanta players are all athletic, especially their wing backs. They're always good. Like you saw what Castagna did with Leicester as well. I think they're all Premier League ready.
Someone say, are you coming on loan as a United fan when you signed?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. I'm ready. United Twitter, get at me, man. As soon as Conte signs, I even tweeted out yesterday, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to sign on the dotted line for the loan deal.
Another thing, like someone said, Shaw is mentally too weak. You think a lot of these players could struggle with like the mentality side on the Conte? Because I do feel like at times these players have been too comfortable in it, and I feel like an Oli to a Conte change is literally polar opposites. Like it could hit the players hard.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely one of the question marks as well. Because as I said, you have to be 110% committed. Like if Conte comes in, like he's not going to accept 95%, 99%. Like you have to be all in. So yeah, those kind of mentalities for sure, I think could be an issue. But we'll have. That's one of the things we'll have to see. But that's an opportunity again for you to clear out the weak ones. Like if you see that, if Conte sees that this guy is not up for it, that's your opportunity to get rid of those types of players.
You think Conte potentially could get rid of a lot of people? Because I feel like a couple of people said this here that he likes like a tight-knit squad kind of thing.
Yeah,
like maybe a bit of a smaller squad.
Yeah, as I said, yeah, like usually that's why it's in Europe, when we mentioned the Europe thing, because he doesn't really rotate the squad too much. He does have his kind of like 14, 15 true tried and tested players that he always goes for. And yeah, your squad is probably too big anyway. So it probably does need a little bit of trimming in general.
We'll probably see people like Cavani leave at the end of the summer anyway when his contract finishes. You think Cavani could be a Conte player?
Yeah, Cavani. That's what I was gonna say. Cavani, I can see Conte and Cavani like loving to work with each other. Cavani can speak Italian as well, so those two can, communicate really well. So I wouldn't be surprised if United get Conte, and I could see Conte convincing Cavani to stay.
Because I feel like Cavani is kind of like, in terms of experience, mentality-wise, he has it. He's kind of been there in football. You think of Cavani, Ronaldo, if we do play a like 3-5-2 partnership could work?
Yeah, I mean, Ronaldo could maybe have that kind of more roaming role, but I don't really.
And then Cavani does his like off the ball work.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's hard to imagine it working, in practice. Like in theory, it sounds like it could be good, but it's hard to see in a Conte system. Like, but that's the interesting part. Like, it's kind of like fantasy. That's what I mean. This is going to be so interesting if you guys sign them.
Someone asked, where are you from?
I'm from Leicester.
Did Ronaldo block Conte's move back to Juve?
No, I don't think so, because I don't think that happened. because Inter went in for him like pretty early on. Like Spalletti, I think the deal was done by April, May was done before even the season was done with the Conte to Inter. So yeah, I don't think that's true.
I think there's also another thing I wanted to touch on. I think a lot of people say that Conte leaves teams in a bad state. What do you think of that?
I would disagree with that. I mean, which team has he left in a bad state?
See, that's what I was thinking. Because, like, if we're looking at Juve, he kind of built the dynasty, you could argue, for them to dominate Serie A. Chelsea, I think the season after, they still got top four and won the Europa League under Maurizio Sarri.
Exactly.
Inter Milan, it was kind of like the way he left was a bit different because it was about your financial backing and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, he's. I mean, Chelsea was like, yeah, obviously that squad was probably. We will never know that summer, like whose signings were those, like, you know, the Zappacosta, Drinkwater, those kind of expensive signing. Like, did Conte really want those guys? Like, obviously he wanted Lukaku that year, and they got him Morata. So it was like, I don't know if those were Conte's actual signings, but yeah, as you said, like the season after, Sarri could come in straight away, and he won. You know, got fourth, got the Europa League. Juve, yeah, Allegri came in, and it was, you know, building blocks to take the Juve to like 2 Champions League finals afterwards. And yeah, Inter now, Inzaghi's come in. There's a good squad there. There's a great squad there, apart from obviously Lukaku Hakimi leaving. But yeah, I think that's a bit of a myth that Conte ruins teams.
People asking where did this Shaw mentally weak come from? Jose, innit? Jose's criticized him so many times about everything, literally, in public. Would Conte like Lindelof?
Yeah, I think we touched on it earlier, didn't we? Like his ball playing ability from the back, definitely. Obviously, he'll have to work on him, like defensively and tactically and all that kind of stuff. But I think he could be potentially good.
See, this might be a question I don't know if you know. What languages does Conte speak?
Bro, he speaks Italian but in English, he's decent English. It's not too bad for an Italian coach, because usually they're quite bad. And yeah, that's it.
People want to know, would he like Martial?
I don't know, man. I think I wouldn't be convinced. I could imagine Conte not wanting Martial in the squad. I could see him being one of the guys that gets sacrificed.
Another thing someone said, Mourinho Part 2. What do you think of that? Because I do potentially disagree, because I think Conte at this stage of his career is a lot better than Jose.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, especially when you guys got Jose, he's probably on the declining phase of his career, wasn't he? Like he already had that struggling phase at Chelsea after you got him. Before you got him. Whereas Conte now is probably at his peak. He's at this peak of his powers. Like this, what he did at Inter is probably his best work that he's done until now. And he still seems like really hungry. Like, you know, Mourinho already achieved so much by the time he got to you guys. Like I feel like Conte still has got some things to prove, like, yeah, as you said, like in Europe and stuff like that. So I think you're getting a different. I don't know why they really compare, to be honest, because
I think it's because they're both winners, and Conte has the myth that he plays defensive football.
Yeah,
and obviously Jose, everyone says he parks the bus and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's like a lazy comparison to make.
Yeah. They're similar in terms of, but you know, they demand the best from their players. They demand 100%, yeah, for sure. But one thing I can say, they're both not long-term managers. Like if you bring in Conte now, whatever contract you give him, 3 years, you'd be lucky if he lasted 3 years as well. Like, you know.
Wait, why would you say that?
Just look at his track record. You know, at Juve, this guy left just before the end of the transfer window because they didn't sign him. I believe at that time was like what he wanted Juan Cuadrado really badly, and Juve didn't sign him, and he left. Like, just, you know, it wasn't back. The Inter you saw this past summer, he, you know, whatever doubts he had about the Inter's financial backing or whatever, he left. You know, he had a 3-year contract, and I thought he was going to finish the contract for once, and he didn't. Chelsea again, he didn't finish it out. So yeah, even at Italy, he left Italy's job early because the Chelsea job came around. Like this guy, if like let's say Real Madrid come calling, he said he's rejected Real Madrid in the past because he didn't want to take him, you know, midway through the season. So, you know, he does well with you one season and Real Madrid come calling, this guy will leave you straight away. Like he's like that. So, and his style of play, like I don't think is maintainable over a long period just because of the intensity, like the demands is just like, I think it drains
kind of like Bielsa in a way.
Yeah, like Bielsa.
I big up BR as well, saying his great stream, and there's a lot of myths about Conte. This is why I had to get Sharma on, Because I've been thinking the same thing, that there's a lot of myths about Conte, and it's kind of like lazy people on Twitter or lazy journalism as a whole writing of Conte straight away about his style of football, the youth, and all of that negative football stuff. So I'm gonna say Brandon Williams. I think he's trolling. Not much about Brandon Williams.
I haven't really watched too much of Brandon Williams, bro. I'm not gonna
Trust
comment
me,
on
you don't
players,
want to
but-
watch him. You don't want to watch him.
But yeah, about Conte, bro. Like, if I tell you as an Inter fan, that was some of the best football that I've seen, like at Inter, in terms of some of the, like, if you watch some of our goals, especially like on the counter attack, man. Some of the plays are so good. Obviously, it helps when you got like a speedster like Hakimi on the right and Lukaku's pace and all that kind of stuff. But some of the goals we scored, man, they were really like aesthetically really really good goals. So, and even at Chelsea, like you can ask Chelsea fans, especially the first season, like some of those plays that Chelsea had, like Hazard, Willian, Giroud, or like Diego Costa, like combining, that's like really good football.
How the hell is Conte leaving teams in a bad shape when he transferred 3 teams to a title winner? Listen, this is what I'm saying. I think it's just lazy journalism and lazy people on Twitter putting out false narratives. I was going to ask another thing. You think Conte is the manager that the Glazers don't want?
Yeah, definitely.
But he's the
bro.
only manager that they can potentially get that's available right now.
Yeah, he's the best. He's the best available right now, but he's not the guy for Glaze. As I said at the beginning, he's really hard to manage. And like, who's going to be the guy managing Conte? Do you know what the hierarchy is?
John Murtough and stuff.
What's he like? Is he a big personality?
Nope.
Yeah, Conte's gonna chew him up and
like once
spit him
Ed
out.
Woodward leaves in April, it'll probably be Richard Arnold as well, who's another banker. They're not footballing people.
Exactly, man. That's why I said like Beppe Marotta, the guy who had him at Juve, he's in Inter now. Like he's the only guy I feel like can really manage him properly. Like you have to have a guy that has to have like daily contact with Conte, telling him like, we're getting you this guy, we're doing this, publicly back him. Like if there's refereeing decision, Conte wants like the club to be publicly backing him, like not leaving him alone to fight everyone. He's hard to manage, and yeah, he's the nightmare for Glazers because he's gonna demand things, he's gonna demand signings, he's gonna demand to like get rid of players. He's got very high demand, and yeah, honestly, I don't. If I'm surprised if the Glazers go for him.
I'll be surprised, but at the same time, it's kind of like I think they're desperate. I think they could be desperate after the Tottenham defeat to find another manager, and I don't think Zidane will take this job. Are they really going to let an interim take over for the entire season and wait for maybe a Ten Hag or a Pochettino, who I think they really, really want, to be available? And I don't think they'll do that. Like someone else, Statman, why do you want Oli out? Listen, I could be here for ages, but first, like quickly, style of football, lack of trophies, the way, like just the organization on the pitch, it is absolutely shocking. And if you watch United against Liverpool, poor. But anyway, I think Saeed's in the chat as well, so big up Saeed as well. I think that's probably the perfect way to end it. Antonio Conte could potentially be the next United manager. Sharma, would you want Antonio Conte to be the next Man United manager?
Bro, it's gonna be, as I said, it's gonna be painful watching this guy because I really like learn to love the guy. So he's just anywhere else apart from Inter is gonna hurt. But yeah, if you guys get him, you're gonna trophies are coming back to Old Trafford, mate. That's all I can tell you. So yeah, enjoy him if you get him.
Someone quickly asked, how good was Ashley Young at Inter?
Hey, bro, that's another good example of a career revival. Like this guy was.
You liked Ashley Young like that?
Well, actually, I was a bit iffy about him. The Inter fan base in general really likes him, but last season I wasn't sure on him. But the first 6 months, like that was like, whoa, this guy, like literally revived him out of nothing. So that's the thing with Conte. You could imagine, like you talk about Brandon Williams or like someone random, like you could just. Conte is one of those guys who could just see something in someone and you can get the best out of him.
Someone said he revived his hairline under Conte. He did, Ashley Young was looking slick. But anyway, make sure you guys subscribe to Sharma as well. His link is in the title to his channel. So make sure you guys click that. Is there anything else you want to plug?
No, that's it, bro. Yeah, if you're interested in Inter or like Serie A stuff, yeah, make sure to check out my channel and at Shams, rshams on Twitter if you want to follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, I've tagged him in my last tweet, I think. about like going live and stuff. So you can just follow him from there. That'll probably be a bit easier. But anyway, I will probably be back tomorrow on Twitch with Lies potentially. And we'll see. Listen, my pronunciation ain't the best, but you know who I mean, and he knows ball.
Oh, Lies, man. Yeah, I'm joining United Twitter. I have to know all the important guys, innit?
Listen, one of the important guys is Saeed, and he was in the chat. But anyway, big up everyone for watching. We'll be back with another video.